Well, you won't believe who the newest Labor MP is. Or maybe you will. But is 2026 going to be another drag year? Well, not if we can help it. Let's check it out. So they're back. You thought they were gone, but they're a little bit like a noxious weed. Drag for kids, all part of Auckland Pride. You know, when your ratepayer funds are used to remind everyone that LGBT exists, because nobody, absolutely nobody knew about it, apparently. And Hugo Girl, a biological female who is a drag king called Hugo Girl, which sounds like girl, doesn't it? Yeah, if you're confused, join the club. But it's always fascinating how the females are kings and the males are drag queens. So binary and bigoted, you know, kings and queens. It's almost as though there's only two options, male and female. Anyway, in her post promoting drag for kids, it says this. Here it is. Hey, Tamaki, my stupid cute kids show is back in Auckland this Pride season, but our options for promotion are pretty limited on account of needing to manage the fascism. Yes, that's code for concerned families who think that drag queens and kings are adult entertainment and not appropriate for children. Fascists, apparently. It continues, so word of mouth really is the best. If you know people with little people, please send them these details. Whisper it through the gay grapevine. Go forth, and I'll see you in February. Whisper it through the gay grapevine. But hey, there's no hidden radical sexuality and gender indoctrination aim. It's just reading books. Or so they want you to believe. Now, according to an article a few years ago on our Drag King, it says this. Before Wellington-based Genevieve Fowler started performing as a drag king in 2015, she worked as a corporate event manager, studying unsuccessfully at university, and worked behind a bar. Jen identifies as Pākehā, and came out at 20. She's used a lot of labels, femme, camp, non-binary, lesbian, and now describes herself as a bog standard queer. She says she'll keep playing an excitable, silly transvestite cabaret character as long as she can. Everyone should do drag. It's good for your soul and makes you question who you are. Hugo recently branched out with Naked Boys Reading in Wellington. I'll come back to that, which she describes as a feminist show exploring the way patriarchy affects men. The social expectation that men's bodies are for fighting and for effing, and our discomfort with vulnerable male bodies. People really want that back, and there's still so much more to talk about there. Now, this article is updated at a later time saying Genevieve has come out as George Fowler, non-binary trans boy. How can you be non-binary but a boy? Okay, this is confusing, but it sounds like a perfect role model for kids. Not. Here she is with a plushy replica of her own genitals, apparently. Right into mocking Christianity. Interestingly, not Islam. And as part of that persona, here's some more role modeling. Yeah, mocking Christianity. Look, I apologize for the offensiveness of what you've just watched, but it's time to wake up to the agenda of drag. You don't want perverts and groomers in front of children. But it's not just being targeted at young kids. She also has drag schools for teenagers during the school holidays, compliments of the National Youth Dance School. Says drag is a fast-evolving performing arts industry in Aotearoa, and the drag school is ready to prepare the never generation of superstars. This class is suitable for anyone interested in drag performance of any kind, kings, queens, or in-betweens. Got rid of that binary, thank goodness. But note the target audience, even though apparently it's just about reading books to kids. Students that are gender diverse, transgender, or non-binary will be given priority as a reflection of the rare and transformational opportunity drag experiences can offer to queer youth. Yeah, we knew that connection. And she also put out this, I want your busted drag, hey homos. You allowed to say that? Help make gay high schoolers feel gorgeous. But I thought it was all about just reading books to kids. Now, here's a quick advert for teenagers, and you'll notice there aren't many people there, and even the ones who are look a little awkward.
Hello, I'm George Fowler. I'm also known as Hugo Girl. My pronouns are he and him, and I am stoked to be the drag tutor for NIDS 2025. Drag is an alter ego and is a clownish physical character. So really all we're doing is character creation. It's also styling. We play dress up lots. We say, what's this costume saying to you? And then we build a short solo act around that character. This is a really unique opportunity. I don't really know of anywhere else in the world where a teenager could do a school holiday program of 8 days straight, getting to dabble in the incredible art form that is drag. I think this is an incredibly unique opportunity. I am obsessed with it. I think individual expression, queer expression, weird expression is so important for young people of their age group. Yes, I'm very stoked to be doing this.
Yeah, is this a role model that you want in front of your children? You know, is this a role model? And she also introduced the naked girls reading phenomenon, which began in Chicago in 2009, spreading throughout the US and Canada. I'm sure you've never heard of it. But given the nudity and immorality, the media absolutely love this. Yeah, I probably shouldn't keep that image up for too long. The article says Fowler, or Hugo Girl, learned of this artistic marriage of literature and nudity from a friend and contacted the naked matriarchs in the US, then set about planning a Kiwi version. That sounds a lot like an imported culture war. Where's my bear? I can barely breathe. Unbelievable. Imported culture war. And of course, the world's worst breakfast show, One Breakfast on TVNZ, got very excited a couple of years ago about the Drag King show. Drag King, sorry. Got my binaries wrong. And did some glowing promotion 2 years ago with Hugo Girl, trying to figure out the difference between a queen and a king. Clue, it's binary, darling. But as you watch this, there's a very telling admission at the end. This is from 2023.
So for more on what we can expect, we're joined by organiser Hugo Girl. Morena.
Morena, how you doing, darling?
Very well, thank you. How are you doing? How much effort and work has gone into this creation this morning?
I don't know what you're talking about. I've just
woke up
rolled
like
out of
this?
bed. Yes, I look like this all the time.
Okay, so what is then the difference between a drag king and a drag queen?
Great. Ooh. So I'm a drag king.
Yeah.
And so that basically means that I am a masculine version of a drag queen. This is what brings me joy, dressing up like a big, silly, sparkly man.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So well, then what's the difference between a drag queen show and a drag king show?
Well, very little. They're both very entertaining. They're both a little bit smutty. They're both a great night out.
Yeah, that was an interesting admission, wasn't it? So while there is slowly a cultural tipping point towards rejecting gender ideology and returning back to biology, keeping dudes out of women's sports and changing rooms, admitting that only women can get pregnant. Yeah, come and sue me for saying that. Acknowledging that giving puberty blockers to a child to help them change their sex is both fanciful, harmful, and stupid. Unfortunately, there's still those pushing the whole gender ideology, and we need to be alert, call it out, and push back. But it's not just aimed at children, as you have seen. Hugo Girl I'm talking about, is also one of the many who, courtesy of the taxpayer and woke companies like Kiwi Bank and others that you can see on our website, wokeup.nz, give bucket loads of money to these activists to come into workplace staff meetings to indoctrinate them on LGBT issues and make them feel guilty as to why they're working as they're actually paid to do, be a working employee? And why aren't they deep in contemplation, questioning their gender identity and ruminating over their sexuality? That's what going to work should be all about. She, George, is a rainbow diversity and inclusion consultant. Well, more strictly, an LGBT plus indoctrinator. Have a watch.
I'm going to buy the men's one.
Yeah. No, so.
In case you haven't noticed, I do this as a job. And so, so if we're starting the conversation.
So you're an educator in the space?
I am, yeah. So I do rainbow awareness training in workplaces. My job title is that I'm a gender diversity specialist. And I love it because I get Joe blogs for 2 hours.
Yeah.
So we're doing it because their workplace needs everyone to be nice and be educated, but I do it because I get the ear of people I would never get the ear of otherwise.
Right.
Being able to be like, have you thought about your own personal gender expression? And people are like, no, no, I haven't. I'm having an existential crisis. And being able to hold people's hands through that is really cool.
Whew. So the the gender ideology continues. By the way, speaking of grifting, you're paying for all this indoctrination. And I've talked about this previously, as I mentioned in an earlier examination, $1.7 million to indoctrinate your children with this through New Zealand On Air. 1.7 million. Drag grifters, grifting off the taxpayer. And Hugo Girl is not the only one. Here's some, more material, which is easy to find for inquisitive children who have just gone along to see this lovely Mr. Hugo's little library and the joyous world of perversion, of wonder. And as you can see there, creating smutty around the edges stuff. Pretty blatant about what he and who he is, which just really leads me to my final point. Just to really make your day, I want to tell you about the new Labour MP who is coming in on the list because of the retirement of Adrian Ruifer, who has just retired. Now, actually, he was one of the better Labour MPs, although the bar is pretty low. He voted against Jacinda's radical abortion bill, which is probably why he was never a cabinet minister. He voted against euthanasia, Easter trading, and he voted for parental notification for teenage abortions. So a loss to Parliament. But here's the new Labour MP, and you're going to love this. According to a report on Stuff by Lloyd Burr, quote, she helped the Green Party campaign in the 2014 and 2017 elections. For 6 years before that, she helped Labour, and then she campaigned for Labour in 2023. So the Labour, Green, Labour flip-flopping has seen Danzy call herself a watermelon, or maybe a career wannabe politician who will go with anyone who will have her on the left. It's actually interesting that Labour are so desperate to have someone who flits between them and their competition, the Greens. I mean, are they struggling for candidates? Anyway, the article continues, she trained as a teacher and initially worked at a low decile secondary school in Waikato, but for the last 15 years, she's been a unionist for Etu. So she actually had a proper job. But Danzy identifies as queer and has 3 children. Bet you never saw that one coming. A LGBTQ QWERTY plus divided by sign in the Labour Party. But here's the slam dunk. She occasionally performs as a drag king named Peter Pansy, who made an appearance at Labour's Rainbow Policy launch during the 2023 campaign. Bet you absolutely never saw that one coming either. A queer drag king as a Labour MP. Move over Benjamin Doyle. There's a new show in Parliament. Oh, and lock up your children. They need your protection.